Hello, everybody. This is John Paval with Access Arts Live with the weekly roundup of chamber and advanced contemporary chamber sort of music for the week of March 30th to April 6th, 2026 on behalf of Access Arts Live. Before I go any further, let me remind you, if you do like this kind of high quality music online, do yourself a favor. Follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live absolutely free of charge on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram particularly, but we're also on X, TikTok, Threads, and LinkedIn. We are wherever you want to be to make it easy for you to find us. We have a lovely week coming up here. You know, it's Easter week, so it's an interesting collection. Many typical live streamers are not very active this week, but we've got classic song and now compositions and early music, all three coming out of New York City. We've got rebel Irish folk music from Oregon. We've got a wind quintet in Philadelphia and piano recital in London, playing very classic music for you. So we have something for just about everyone's taste this week. And I would mention we have no orchestral or operatic or ballet works being done this week. So this is it. This is what you've got, folks, if you're interested in classical music during this week leading up to Easter. Let me start out with the first performance that I want to tell you about, which is just in a couple hours' time. We only found out about it at the last minute because it's at Zaryadye Hall, and they're one of the many cute content providers online that don't let people online know that they're going to be live streaming till the day of a live stream or the day before. We keep track of everything on YouTube, and we found out about this 2 hours ago instead of a week ago, which would have been nice. We could have warned you. Anyway, so this first live stream is for Bach lovers. Bach lovers, there's another Bach B minor mass live streaming today, Tuesday, March 31st from Zaryadye Hall in Moscow. It's part of the second Moscow Baroque Festival with the Zaryadye Baroque Orchestra, the esteemed, long-standing Russian academic state choir, and soloist soprano Elena Sancho-Pereg, mezzo-soprano Polina Sharovarova, tenor Mikhail Nor, and baritone Thomas Chenhal. We don't know much more to tell you about it than that. We were able to at least dig up a photograph for you of this choir that's been around since the 1940s, I believe. The conductor of all of this is Renato Balsadona, and it's the Johann Sebastian Bach Mass in B minor, BWV 232. If you're a Bach lover, this is the kind of thing you love, and you can hear it free of charge today. And then we move right along. I'm not sure if everyone would consider that to be chamber music, but we're giving you what we've got for this week is basically what we're doing here. There's going to be some organ music thrown in and other things like that. So let's move along to this. A love of both archaic and now music is the order of the day, Tuesday, March 31st, when Sacred Music at Columbia University live streams the Ekmeles vocal ensemble, singing new works based on very old music by Alec Hall, Laura Steenberg, Laura Hiendel, and Celeste Oram, produced by Qubit. That will be at 6 o'clock in the evening, European time, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the West Coast, midnight here in Europe, 10 o'clock Wednesday morning down under in Australia. This group, Ekmeles, is composed of Charlotte Mundy, soprano, Christopher Bresson Thompson, tenor, Gregorio Taniguchi, tenor, and Jeffrey Gavet, baritone, and the director. The pieces they'll be doing are Alec Hall's Striving After Wind, Laura Steenberg's St. Marshall and King Stephen, Laura Hiendel's Ray of Light, excerpts from that, and Celeste Oram's onomastic gymnastics. I can tell you a little bit about each of these pieces briefly. The Laura Hyndel or Hindel or Hyndel, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, Laura, forgive me. Her piece, Ray Ray of Light, she's taking snippets of 12th century music. This is pre-modern, this is archaic, and rearranging it into cutouts of musical gestures, one could say. And the actors are like a sampler, creating these sculptures of sound. So that's I have long been, if you follow XSR Live, you know I've been saying for as long as we've been live streaming to you and talking to you, that people who are interested in very early music and very now music, it's often the same people, and this is proving it this way. Then Laura Steenberg, St. Martial and King Stephen. This is material from a piece called 72 Verses for St. Martial, which was a polyphonic chant composed by Ademar de Chaban in the year 1029. It was composed for 2 voices, 2 violins, contrabass, and French horn. So they're presenting this material unchanged from the original music, but distorting the durations of the sounds. Then Striving After Wind by Alec Hall is based on the book of Ecclesiastes. And we're told it floats between harmonic fields and chant melodies. And finally, Celeste Oram's onomastic gymnastics is based on medieval French songs, but reworked with rhyme, repetition, and wordplay. I tell you, Ekmeles is it originally comes from a Greek word which means out of tune or not belonging in the music. And they are dedicated to performing new and rarely heard works. And well, they're certainly doing that in this concert. So they have done premieres by composers like John Luther Adams, Taylor Brooke, Courtney Bryan, Ann Clear, Yosa Di Castri, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you're interested in this early music, now music coming together, this is for you. And we then move along to the next concert. They're all very interesting concerts this week, I got to tell you. Even if there's not an awful lot of them. As I find myself describing each one, it's like, well, this is completely different from the one before. I mean, we've gone from the Bach B minor mass to, to archaic and now music being played together, and now we're into something completely different too, but a very complex, it appears first class song recital. Top collaborative pianist Katelan Trần and Polish-American rising star soprano Magdalena Kuźma team up for a highly varied program of songs by Chopin, Szymanowski, Mozart, Hugo Wolf, Massenet, and more, much more. Live streamed as part of the Peggy Rockefeller concert series, Tuesday, March 31st. When I say more, those that I just referred you to, those composers, that's just the first half of the program. Okay? And Magdalena Kuźma, both Magdalena Kuźma, the soprano, and Katelan Terrell, the pianist, are graduates of the Lindemann Young Artist Program. And we're also told they both appear in this concert by arrangement with Askenas Holt, their agency. So these two know each other. Kuźma has already started singing with the New York Met. She made a role debut as Susanna in Figaro at the Aspen Music Festival. She debuted another role as Bubikov in Der Kaiser von Atlantis with the New World Symphony and the Louisville Orchestra. She has played Papagena in the Magic Flute at the New York Met more than once. Also sang Sister Catherine in Dead Man Walking, and Yvette and the Italian singer in La Rondine for the New York Met in the 2023-24 season. Won a half a dozen competitions along the way. She's well on her way. And Katelan Terrell the pianist, she's been a member of the music staff at the New York Met since 2019, full-time since 2021. And in those first couple of years, she was also an opera coach and an accompanist at the Opera Academy of the National Opera in Warsaw. And she's still a member of the guest faculty. And I don't know if the two of them work together in Warsaw as well as in New York, but you can see these paths crossing. So she's performed at places as an accompanist, or what we call a collaborative pianist now, at Carnegie Hall, at Wigmore Hall. She did that with tenor Matthew Svensson back in 2019, and they won the best duo at the Wigmore Hall Independent Opera International Song Competition. She's a graduate of Eastman and Juilliard. So I'll tell you a couple of the pieces they're playing. So they start out with Chopin's 17 songs, Opus 74, the first two pieces. I don't know if I can pronounce them for you. The first is Zdzeni, and the second is Wiosna. Then Szymanski's Uvo's Mamo, which is the second song in his 12 Kurpian songs, Opus 58, Book 1. Then she'll do something from The Marriage of Figaro by Mozart, De Vieni non tardar. Then Hugo Wolf's Die Bekerkte, from his Goethe lieder, Henri Dupart's Extase and Invitation au Voyage, and then another operatic piece, Massenet's Adieu notre petite table from Manon, then a piece from Sibelius's 5 songs, Opus 37, War der ein Traum, Was That a Dream? And then finally, this is still the first half, Stanislaw Moniuszko's, he's a big Polish opera composer, and I cannot pronounce it, but it's a piece from his opera called Halka. And then the second half, songs by Charles Tomlinson Griffiths, Tchaikovsky, Kim Dong-jin, Hans Bridger Terruth, Mark Blitzstein, and finishing up with Meredith Wilson's Good Night, My Someone, Good Night, My Love, Sweet Dreams, etc., from The Music Man by Meredith Wilson. Looks like a lovely lineup. Very ambitious, too. A lot of singing. Okay, then we move on to yet another live stream on Tuesday, today, coming a little later in the day. And again, this will now be something completely different from the first two that I talked to you about. We've got the Bach B minor mass, then this musical recital, and also the Ekmeles. And now we have this one. I have the right photo up there for you, and that's the best I've got, folks. You're in for an immersive and specialized performance Tuesday, March 31st, to be performed by the acclaimed String Orchestra of Brooklyn, live streamed by the ever avant-garde Roulette Intermediate Theater, and they'll also be doing 3 more pieces of now music, which we are told inhabit similar sound worlds to the Penderecki piece that they'll be starting with, the Threnody for the Victims of Hiroshima. So it's, they perform, the String Orchestra of Brooklyn performs at Roulette every year. So this is a return performance. It'll be at 8 o'clock in the evening, New York time, 5 o'clock LA time, 2 o'clock in the morning here in Europe, noon down under in Australia on Wednesday. This is a performance of what we're told is a blisteringly intense piece, the Threnody for the Victims of Hiroshima, which is understandable. They were all destroyed by an atomic bomb. And then they're also doing several other pieces to tell you about. A piece by Radiohead guitarist Johnny Greenwood called Popcorn Super Hate Receiver. Okay. He's the guitarist for Radiohead, and he specifically said this piece was inspired by Penderecki's work. Then Sarah Henney's piece called Falling Together, and then a piece by Brandon Randall Myers, who's the band leader of Scarcity, which is in what is called an avant metal band. It's a piece about mourning. It's called Avelut. This string orchestra was founded almost 20 years ago in 2007 by Eli Spindle, and they have commissioned over 40 works for strings. including works by Chris Cerrone, Scott Wohlschläger, Dev Hines, Greg Spears, Catherine Lamb, etc. They've got a couple albums out. They've also had a habit of performing in installations or artistic settings like at MoMA, at the Whitney Museum, and at BAM, the Brooklyn Academy of Music. So it'll be a heck of a performance. If they tell you this will be an intense, immersive experience, it will be an intense, immersive experience. Okay. All right. And then we move on to Wednesday, and you get a break from all this intensity. But that isn't that marvelous? Those live streams just today, the 4 that I described to you, I'm amazed sometimes at the kind of high quality content that's out there. And all you have to do is, we're giving you the links. You just click and go. I don't know why anybody would not be subscribed to Access Arts Live. Well, I do know why, because people don't know about it, because we haven't advertised it enough so that they will know about it. Next up is on Wednesday. Are you in the mood for rebel, anti-fascist Irish folk music this week? Well, if you are, it's on the menu at the Old Church Portland's lunchtime live stream, Wednesday, April 1st. No kidding. With the Portland-based self-described rebel Irish folk artist, Troy Rulmyr and Josh O'Renick, serving up songs of loss, resistance, exile, and perseverance from the compelling past of Ireland. That'll be at noon in Portland, Oregon, 3 o'clock in New York City, 9 in the evening in Europe, and 7 o'clock Thursday morning down under in Australia. They're parts of Ghost in the Clover. The Clover is what's identified with Ireland. It took me a while to realize that. And it's they call themselves a rebel folk band rooted in the fight for the marginalized, the silenced, and the disavowed. If we have room, I'll give you the link to their website, but you can look it up yourself, Ghost in the Clover. Troy Rulmyr plays mandolin, whistles, harmonica, guitar, bass, bodhran, vocals in this performance. Otherwise, he plays 11 other instruments, including the accordion and the banjo. And we're told he's played more than 7,000 shows and doesn't intend to stop anytime soon. It's kind of like Bob Dylan, who's been on tour forever, you know. And Josh O'Renick, he's Irish and Pueblo, so part Native American, and was one of the founding members of Ghost in the Clover. And he also plays other instruments. What is he playing in this concert? He's on guitar, tenor, banjo, and vocals in this concert. But he also plays things like the mando, cello, and other string instruments. So if you're looking for real anti-fascist, in that political sense, Irish outcry, this is it. What can I say? And if you're not, this isn't it. But it's what's your pleasure? Let's keep moving right along here. Oh, yeah, that's the 2 of them there. You see them on screen. Next up is, I think, going to be early music, but I'm not sure. Let me double check. No, next up is, hold on a second. What is, the early music is on Thursday. Next up is these guys called The Setting. Feel free to say hello. I might actually see you showing up. We live stream through Restream, so we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, and LinkedIn simultaneously. If you're watching us on any of those platforms and you make a comment, it should show up here on our Restream platform. But no promises made, but if it does, I'll be happy to say hello to you and welcome you to the live stream. Wednesday, April 1st, Roulette Intermedium live streams the Brooklyn-based drummer John Download and the group called The Setting, a trio, celebrating the release of The Setting's debut album. That's at 8 o'clock in the evening, New York City time, 5 o'clock on the West Coast, and 2 in the morning in Europe. and noon down under in Australia on Thursday. They'll open with John Download, who's a Brooklyn-based drummer. He'll be doing a solo set with drums and what are called expressive software instruments. So, extended raw versions of digital content. That's what that's going to be. This is Now Music. If you like Now Music, it's one of those concerts. And then there will be The Setting, which is a trio composed of Norwegian bassist composer Eivind Opsvik, pianist Elias Stemeseder, and guitarist Will Grafe. And they have a new album that comes out, and they mix 70s and 80s kind of synthesizer music, ECM solo guitar, experimental art pop with acoustic stuff, an upright bass, acoustic guitar, and harpsichord. They're mixing everything together. So it's Opsvik on the bass and compositions. It's Stemeseder on the piano and synthesizers, and Grafe on the acoustic guitars and electronics. Wow. Okay. This group has only been around for a couple of years, since 2024. And, well, you can check it out and just find out what it is for yourself. Then we move on to Thursday, and Thursday we are plunged backwards in time again to early music, but it's still coming out of New York City. I mean, New York City is really hopping this Easter week while everybody else seems to be taking the time off. Well, I forgot to show you while we were at it a photo of this guy. This is John Download, the drummer from Brooklyn. Okay, just so you see him. Then we're into early music with Midtown concerts, I believe. Yes, we are. Dominic Giardino, the clarinetist, and colleagues from the Music of the Regiment collective portray the development of the clarinet as a virtuoso instrument through the music of Bernhard Crusell and his teachers Franz Tausch and Jean-Xavier Lefebvre in a Midtown Concerts live stream Thursday afternoon in New York City, April 2nd. That's at their usual time of 1:15 in the afternoon in New York, 10:15 in the morning in LA, 7:15 in the evening here in Europe. Along with Giardino are Shelby Yamin on the violin, Stefan Goist on the viola, and Matt Zucker on the violoncello. Crusell's life, I have a photo of Crusell that I can actually share with you at the same time. So you know who we're talking about here, because this is all about Crusell and how he represented something in terms of the development of the... There he is. There's the man himself. Looks very sophisticated, doesn't he? But he grew up modestly. He was the son of a bookbinder, but then he was able to serve in the military as a musician, and it changed his life. And that is what, and he then went on to have a life as a musician, and his teachers were Franz Tausch and Jean-Xavier Lefebvre. And so they'll be doing 3 pieces. They'll be doing this is what do you call this? A clarinet a quartet, since it's a clarinet, violin, and cello. It would be a piano quartet if it was a piano instead of a clarinet. Anyway, so they'll be doing Tausch's quartet in B flat major, Jean-Xavier Lefebvre's quartet number 4 in C, and then they will do Crusell's own quartet number 2 in C minor, opus 4. This is a very compact, very well integrated, well thought out piece. As for the music of the regiment, it's an ensemble which has more than 4 people in it. So these 4 are out of the ensemble. And it's a network of researchers and musicians dedicated to the study and performance of 18th and 19th century European and American military music. This is from the Age of the Enlightenment, which is what we're talking about when it's Crusell, through the American Civil War. Early music fans, this is some real hardcore early music, although it's not, back in the 16th or the 17th century. It's 18th to early 19th century music and the development of a particular instrument as a virtuoso piece, the clarinet. It didn't just happen by itself. Enjoy Midtown concerts. That's not all we have going on Thursday, though. There's more. There's always more here at Access Arts Live. I mean, I could just go on any given day. I could spend all of my time working on Access Arts Live. I mean, that's how much there is of it out there. Next, we have this, the Concord Ensemble. Okay. Thursday, April 7th, trombonist Dick Griffin is the guest musician of honor as Gene Pritzker and the Concord Ensemble and Griffin play Now music by Pritzker, Dick Griffin, and Sun Ra. Live stream on their Facebook page by Composers Concordance. That'll be at 8 in the evening in New York, 5 o'clock on the West Coast, 2 o'clock in the morning here in Europe, and noon on Friday morning down under in Australia. It's Griffin on the trombone, Pritzker on the guitar, Jennifer Vincent on the double bass, David Cousin on the drums, and Robert C. Ford, the house poet, doing recitation. They'll be doing Pritzker's Renaissance Changes and Hokum. Those are world premieres. They'll be doing a piece by Dick Griffin called I Feel Your Pain, another piece by Dick Griffin called Let's Take a Chance, and they'll finish up with selected pieces by Sun Ra. Why does Sun Ra figure into this? Because Sun Ra has been one of Dick Griffin's inspirations in his own musical career, and he worked with him. Also worked with Roland Kirk, Abdullah Ibrahim, and others. They'll have a special guest violinist, Lara St. John, in the program too. Look, if you know about Composers Concordance, Gene Pritzker believes in blurring all the lines between all the different kinds of music, jazz, electronic, classical, etc. And they'll be doing that again on Thursday night in New York City. Okay. We move along to Friday, and again, a complete change of the kind of music I'll be talking to you about. It just stays interesting, folks. There. Friday, April 3rd, the Tomskville's concert organist Maria Blazevich has come up with another musically thoughtful concert. This time it's a dialogue between works by Johann Sebastian Bach and those by Max Reger, who looked upon Bach as, quote, the beginning and end of all music, unquote. And she'll be joined in this concert by Tomsk Philharmonic soprano soloist Yulia Sienkiewicz. This will be at 7 o'clock Krat time in Siberia, 1 o'clock in the afternoon in Europe, 8 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, and 11 o'clock at night in Australia. We give you the link to how to get to this music. Basically, you go to the Tomsk Philharmonic's news page and click on the news box for that particular concert. Sienkiewicz is a Tomsk-born person, singer, who got her training at the Institute of Arts and Culture at the Tomsk State University, and then finished up in 2013 and immediately went to work with the Tomsk Regional State Philharmonic. So she puts together musical and educational programs for children when she's not singing with the orchestra. She's appeared in some Mozart operas and and regularly performs with this orchestra. But she's also performed often with Maria Blazevich and the other resident organist at the Tomskville, Ushakov, both in concert at the concert hall, but also at the Roman Catholic Church of the Intercession and the Evangelical Lutheran Church of St. Mary, both of those in Tomsk. You see, Orthodox churches don't have organs, but the Catholics and Lutherans do. That's how that happens. Anyway, so here's what they start with. They'll start with Reger's Introduction to Passacaglia in D minor. Then a Bach soprano aria, Gott wir danken deiner Güte, from cantata number 193, which is Rejoice, O Gates of Zion. Then Bach's Prelude and Fugue in D minor, BWV 539. Then another song, Blessed Are Those Who Live Blamelessly, on the text of Psalm 118. Then Reger's Fantasy and Fugue in D minor, Opus 135b. Then Morgengesang, Morning Song, by Reger, Opus 137, number 8. And then they'll finish up with Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor, BWV 565. For you Bach lovers, this is another lovely Bach concert, taking into consideration how Bach was viewed and how Reger composed his music based on his love of Bach's music centuries before him. From that, it's again this pairing of the Baroque and the Romantic ages and how they complemented each other. Maria Blazevich, I think, is fascinated by that complementarity and contrast. Free of charge. And then, that's what we have for this week in the solid week itself. Wait, I did not, that's fine. I did not show you the photo of the singer. And I do want you to just have a look at it, Yulia Sienkiewicz. There you have Yulia Sienkiewicz, so you know who's going to be singing for you. We have two more live streams that I want to tell you about, which are happening next week, early next week, but they're happening by Tuesday. And we generally only talk about chamber music ourselves on Tuesday. So I want you to have advance notice. And also, so we'll be able to put out clips about this in advance. Here's the first of them. What relationship is there between C.P.E. Bach, Mozart, Rachmaninoff, and Franz Liszt? Well, I don't know, but apparently British-Chinese pianist Noah Zhu has some idea about that, as he will play them all in St. Mary's Perryville's live stream recital on Tuesday, April 7th. That's at their usual time of 3 in the afternoon on the East Coast, 3 in the afternoon in Europe, 9 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, 6 o'clock on the West Coast, and 1 o'clock in the late night down under in Australia. It's Bach's Sonata in A major, a Mozart Sonata in C major Crusell 330, Rachmaninoff's Variations on a Theme of Corelli, and Liszt's Hungarian Rhapsody number 6 in D flat. If you're a real musicologist, you know how these go together. I don't pretend to. Noah Zhu was a prize winner at the Rachmaninoff International Piano Competition, and he was the first ever British-born person to do that. Graduate of the Royal Academy of Music, won over 15 national and international piano competitions, made his debut at Wigmore Hall a year ago in January 2025. He's played with the Fayon Orchestra of the Netherlands, the National Philharmonic in Ukraine, the Brazilian National Symphony, and the State Academic Symphony Orchestra of Russia, which often live streams, and we're often telling you about those live streams. So you might want to check this out if you know what those connections are. And if you don't, well, maybe you want to check it out and find out, because you might actually talk about it in between playing these pieces or before and afterwards. Or you can check into the chat box. They always have a chat box for St. Mary's Perryville, and you can ask. The guy who runs St. Mary's Perryville, Hugh Mather, is usually there in the chat box, and you say, hey, why these 4 pieces? Enjoy. And then there's one more live stream that I want to tell you about, which is also next Tuesday, coming out of the Philadelphia Chamber Society. We're way over the usual half-hour time. I don't know how that happened, but I just took my time telling you about these things. There will be no live stream tomorrow, folks. So this is it for this week. We have no orchestral or big stage productions for me to tell you about this week. So I guess maybe I'm just dwelling on being here because I enjoy doing this sharing with you. Okay. All right. And this is the last of this week's. The Grammy-nominated quintet Imani Winds play globe-spanning works by Cuban, Finnish, Palestinian American, and Turkish composers like Kalevi Aho, Fazil Say, and Simon Shaheen, among others, in a Philadelphia chamber music live stream Tuesday, April 7th. That'll be at 4:30 in the afternoon in Philadelphia, 1:30 in the afternoon in San Francisco, 10:30 in the evening here in Europe. I'm in Stockholm. Eat your heart out. It's beautiful here in the springtime. And 8:30 Wednesday morning next week down under in Australia. Imani Winds is Brandon Patrick George on the flute, who's not the group's original flautist. I'll tell you about that in a second. Mekki Gladden on the oboe, Mark Dover on the clarinet, Kevin Newton on the French horn, and Monica Ellis on the bassoon. They will be playing Valerie Coleman's Red Clay and Mississippi Delta. She was the group's original flautist, but now it's Brandon Patrick George. I'll tell you a little bit about his history too. Then they do Kalevi Aho's Wind Quintet No. 1, Paquito de Rivera's A Little Cuban Waltz, Stevie Wonder's Overjoyed, as arranged by Mark Dover, who is the clarinetist here, Fazil Say's Alevi de Raki Masasinda, and Simon Shaheen's Dance Mediterranea. Imani Winds has been around for over 25 years, and they combine the traditional chamber music repertoire with newly commissioned works. There was this whole wave since it started in the 1980s, and then it just spread of these chamber groups, which were formed to commission new works to play, because after a while you get tired of playing, Schubert's Piano Quartet No. 3 in B minor, whatever it is. And these things all have names now. Well, there's one Wind Quintet No. 1, but they give them names and it's different. Anyway, Brandon Patrick George, he's a Grammy Award winner. And he's on the faculty at the Curtis Institute of Music, at the Mannes School of Music, and the Banff Center for Arts and Creativity. And he's also the music consultant at the Morgan Library and Museum, and they have a concert series, I believe. So really a top guy who's done a lot of performances at top venues around the U.S. and in Europe. Monica Ellis, who is also with them, won a Grammy Award in 2024 and has been nominated several times. She's a bassoonist and was one of the founding members of Imani Winds and is a faculty member at Manhattan School of Music. And along with them, I do not have all of the details about the other participants in this concert, but this is a top quality Philadelphia Chamber Music Society concert as ever. Folks, so enjoy. What can I say? I can say that I hope that someone or any of these live streams uplifts you, inspires you, or just shows you a heck of a good time. And with that, I'll remind you, as ever, if you like this kind of high quality performances, almost all of which are free of charge. I mean, what I've just gone over in the last 40 minutes or so is an amazing kaleidoscope of different kinds of top chamber and contemporary music. You follow this and you're going to, you will know the classical music world inside out if you follow Access Arts Live for a year. I've learned so much. But do yourself a favor, follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, and LinkedIn. And with that, I'm going to be saying goodbye for this week. We do not have more to show you this week because, as I said, there are no orchestral, operatic, big stage productions to tell you about. So thank you. I also want to put a shout out to all of our new followers. Since the beginning of the year, we have added more than 20,000 new followers on Facebook, over 1,000 new followers on Instagram, and we're terribly pleased about it, and we hope we just keep expanding bigger and bigger. Have a great Holy Week and Easter week, if you are a believer. I will be doing so. Ciao for now.